been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning back in. This is Right Wing Rico, the single boyfriend. I appreciate you all, my new followers. Thanks for subscribing. People have been asking me how they can make, send money. I did set up a Cash App. You're more than welcome to use it. I'm not monetized. I'm just doing these shows just because there's just something in me that wants me to talk to people. I do this a lot in person, but with the internet, you get more reach. So here I am. The topic today is what the hell is going on with Netflix again? We had the situation with cuties. We had the accusations of grooming, and they just do not learn. It seems as if Netflix wants to go down the same route as Disney. Disney wanted to get into the political space by pushing the transgenderism and the LGBTQ onto children, the backdoors programming, same-sex relationships inside of their programs, inside of their shows and their cartoons. Ron DeSantis put belt to ass. All of that stopped. Disney lost a lot of its privileges in the state of Florida, throughout the country. Their stock prices took a massive hit. Disney Plus pretty much went offline because they lost so many subscribers. So why the hell is Netflix doing the same? I'll tell you why. There were hiring initiatives that were top down. The ESG turns into DEI. They bring in a lot of Black and gay creators. These gay and Black creators, a lot of them are PDF files. They are also into children. They believe love is love. They also believe that they deserve safe spaces where laws against pedophilia and child exploitation and child abuse, sexual abuse, should be suspended. That's what they consider a safe space. That is their agenda. They want you to be accepting of their sexuality. They don't want you to see that as a crime. Under this current administration and the fact that this is a conservative country, that will never happen. We'll go to war first. But they've tried. And we're going to hopefully be bringing Netflix before Congress to testify. This is Benny Johnson and Congressman Tim Burchett talking about what's happening with Netflix right now.
Would you be in favor of the Netflix leadership being asked to sort of testify over this radical sexual ideology?
Every time we're on, I always say I'm going to do something that makes news. Here's what I want to do on this one, because the First Amendment and all that is involved in it, of course. Let's get on it. I'm going to follow up with my folks after we get off. I'm going to call them and say, which committee can they be brought in front of? Is it who I think what we have to look at, who regulates the FCC, and then since it's cable, does that count? I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but yeah, they need to be brought in. We need to find out what their agenda is and why they're pushing this stuff. Because from what I understand, that little cartoon is apparently the #1 rated cartoon they have on their show. I haven't seen it. It looks kind of like claymation or something. Not really.
Do you know how impressionable kids are? If you introduce anything brand new to a child, they're going to want to do it. I remember when Spider-Man came out, every kid wanted to be Spider-Man in their underwear. They wanted to, pretend they're shooting webs out of their arms, and everybody wanted to be Spider-Man. If you put out programming showing kids there are gay people and trans kids, these kids are going to be confused. They are going to come out and start saying, I'm trans. I'm a girl, but it's a boy. I'm a boy, but it's a girl. That's how impressionable these kids are. And then the embarrassment from these decisions, once they grow up and they grow out of it, they'll be so ashamed of the decisions they made as children. A lot of these kids they're going to need more than therapy because they're going to be suicidal. It happens every single day. You look at abuse victims from the Catholic Church. A lot of these kids do not make it to be adults. They self-delete before the age of 34. All of this plays into a depopulation agenda, Instead of going to war with us, it'd be a lot easier if they can just get us to do ourselves in. So that's why they're trying to push this onto kids. They want to have access to your children. And now, if they do this in a roundabout way, they'll have your children begging you to let in the pedophiles and the perverts to dress up as women and come do the drag queen story hour and all age drag shows. They're going to be asking for it now. These are programs for children as young as 5 years old. And you're literally putting this into their mind. This is the #1 rated show. Are you insane? This is sick.
Sure. But,
Yeah.
I said something about it, and immediately, the left pounded on me and said something about, oh, you're just upset because it's a racial family. And I know some gay folks, and they are getting.
What do I always say? They use the black agenda as the battering ram, and then they can bring in everything behind it. What do they just say? Oh, you don't like this because it's a racial cartoon. No. I don't like it because it promotes pedophilia. You got a kid dancing for 2 adult men, and you know what these men do to little kids. They are always constantly being arrested for it. But the black agenda is to shame you and to make everyone so afraid to say anything because you can be called racist and all these other terms just for you to let your guard down and sacrifice your children. This is a war. You're going to have to keep your wits about yourself, and you're going to have to remove all of those things that make you want to just be compliant and polite to everybody. That's not how this is going to work. You're going to need to protect your kids from these people, or you won't have any kids anymore.
A little more ticked off about the transgender situation because they're getting lumped in. That's not their fight. I don't think that's their fight. They need to pull off all that garbage. And because, they got their win, they got their marriage thing going, and nobody cares. Everybody's looking for a fight, and I live in East Tennessee, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. And just live your own dadgum life. I always tell people, don't put it in my face and don't tax me. And that's all I care about.
Right.
But that right there is recruiting. That is grooming. That is the worst of the worst, because they're taking young minds and they know they can do that.
This programming is troubling. These kids that are going to be confused, they are not going to have conservative values, because you can't be gay, you can't be trans, but also conservative, traditional, man, woman, child, a traditional family. You're not going to be able to do the nuclear family thing if you're gay. If these kids are taught that they are probably transgender when they maybe they have an impediment because they're autistic, and instead of them going through therapy or being in a special class, the teachers and the other students are grooming your child to think that maybe you're just gay, maybe you're trans. And they do an affirmation, they put a dress on your son, and they clap for him. He's autistic. He doesn't really, it's hard for him to separate reality from make-believe. He starts thinking that these people love him. That's how they groom these people. And then these people become activists and they become terrorists. They don't go on to live normal, healthy American lives. They're weaponized. And it's literally just for the destruction of the country. Jack Posobiec had Tim Pool on today, and they were going over this topic. So let's hear a little bit about what Jack has to say. They're actually going to show some more footage from some of these evil programs that they're putting on.
Live, Phoenix, Arizona, the Charlie Kirk studio. Today is October 1st, 2025. Anno Domini, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. We're here with Tim Pool here live in studio for the first time that I've had him on Human Events. So welcome, Tim.
Thanks for having me.
Being out here all week. I got to get into this. I only have you for a couple of minutes. Elon Musk has called for a massive boycott of Netflix, saying cancel Netflix over this show. We just played that clip.
And Elon Musk is doing the right thing. I don't always agree with Musk, but in this situation, I absolutely do. Musk is a victim of this propaganda. He lost his son to grooming and conditioning by shows and teachers, and his mother to believe he's trans. And now his son is gone. His son doesn't exist anymore. He changed his name, mutilated himself. He'll no longer have children. That's it. That's the end of his lineage with that son. Luckily, he has more kids and he can move forward. But because of that, he wants to prevent other parents from going through that pain. Losing a child that's still alive, it's got to be one of the worst feelings in the world. So Elon Musk is right about this.
Of it, totally insane. A kids show pushing trans values, again, on children, pushing transgenderism on children. The creator of the show, by the way, I think it's called Dead End Paranormal Park, which is like, oh, that's a cool show. Kids like ghosts and monsters and stuff. Let's put it in. And they're like, well, I'm a trans. Like, what does that have to do with anything? And this is the same one where the writer, and I've got to pull it up here, was basically mocking Charlie Kirk for being murdered and saying that he deserved it, et cetera, et cetera. Why do people still have Netflix, Tim?
I don't. I canceled it when the Cuties things happened.
Like people in our audience, do you really still have this? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm really trying to figure it out.
To be fair, I have family that still has it, and I can't convince them otherwise because they just avoid these things. But you know, whenever I see a show like this, I always ask people, let's just do a simple contrast, right? Transgenderism, gender dysphoria is a DSM-5 mental disorder. Replace what that character was saying with any other mental disorder. My personal choice is pica. Are you familiar with pica, Jack?
No,
it's when you eat things that aren't food.
Okay.
Now imagine a children's show came on and a character said, "I like eating pennies," and they said, "That's totally fine and acceptable for you to do. I'll help you do it." There'd be no question that literally everyone in the country would have.
Okay, and then there'd be some like adult character that's like, oh, they're bullying you for not affirming your life choices. I just want to eat pennies. I just want to eat pennies. I just want the copper. I think it feels so good when I have it, and it's really delicious. So okay, the guy's name is Hamish Steele, by the way, and again they were just pushing it. So he's the creator. He's the creator of the show. Said.
Now look at this guy. He's not married to a woman. You can look at these people with some of their physical features, some of their characteristics. Those rimmed glasses, those are Mark Cuban was wearing them for a while. Ellen DeGeneres, a lot of the gays wear these glasses. And a lot of these people are what they consider themselves as MAPs. That's minor attracted persons. These organizations they work for know this about them. And there are more MAPs on their board and on their staff. That's why when I do my estimates, I think that the MAPs community, because it's straight people and gay people that are MAPs, I think that might be one of the largest unrecognized demographics that we don't calculate when we're doing our census. When you're looking at who's going to vote which direction and you're wondering, why are you saying all these weird things? You're a straight man, you have children, you have a wife, but they also have a secret life that you don't know about. And they don't want to be secret forever. Some of these people have admitted that they're tired of sex tourism. They feel like they should have the right to do these things with consenting children in the comfort of their own home in the country they live in. They don't want to have to travel to the Philippines anymore or to other faraway lands and sneak around. And they want to live out in the open. They want you to affirm this. That's what Jack Posobiec was just talking about. This is one of the guys who's actually on the front line pushing for this to be accepted. They don't want this to be a crime anymore. They want this to be an accepted and respected sexuality. They want you to affirm this. That's the goal.
On his Blue Sky account that he's, quote, going on the down low for a while, and absolutely has not just celebrated, he celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk, celebrated the death of the man who sat in this chair every day. And I want to take a second. So Tim, do you see these, the toys that are here?
Yeah.
You know what these toys are?
What are they?
So Charlie's daughter, she used to give him a toy every morning, or he would take a toy from home and bring it in here. And he'd want to know if she was watching the show. And, you know, cause she's 3, so she doesn't really, get all the issues and different things, but he would hold up a toy. And he would say, which toy was I holding up today? To see if she watched the show.
Oh, wow. Well, here's an idea for everyone.
This is the last toy that he ever brought in to show his daughter. And people want to joke about this.
Yeah.
It's insane.
The fracturing of it's unacceptable. How do you live with people who celebrate and venerate assassinations? But here's my idea.
The answer, Tim, is you can't. There's 2 separate societies that have always been here. We're just barely now starting to be able to separate people because they're bold enough to stick their heads out. Most people used to be ashamed. If they did celebrate death, they did it in the comfort of their home. They didn't put it on the internet. Black culture and American culture are the two dominant cultures in America. Black culture has been celebrating death for about 10 years now. They in Chicago and certain cities, the young men will kill each other. And then what they would do is they'll buy marijuana and they'll name a pack of weed, the pack of the marijuana they buy, they would name it after the man that they killed. And what they will say is that we're smoking his ashes. Other groups in Black culture, they'll kill someone and then they'll make a dance about the murder. They make millions off of songs and music about murder. Then you have American culture, which not only frowns upon murder, but we actively hunt down murders and we lock them in prison. We administer the death penalty. We are against murder. So you have two groups, both with American citizenship, both speaking a language, both knowing the topography of the land, both live in two different worlds. One society punishes murder, one part of society literally promotes it. So when I say that they merge the Black community and the gay community, this is what I mean. This guy that's celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, he's on that side. He's on the opposite side. Our two cultures, now that we can actually identify them and clearly see them, they're not going to be able to exist. Now, the World Economic Forum wants us to be in a civil war. And I said that wouldn't happen because the left doesn't have the resources, the manpower. So what did they do? They started importing the third world. And they're gradually grooming these illegals and these other people from the third world and everybody who feels that anyone white is better than them. Because there's a lot of people with an insecurity. Gays, Blacks, immigrants, they all feel that whites are superior and they're inferior. And it's an insecurity issue that's mental. And what they do is they all bound together. They find each other. We call it a Black army. And now they're looking to go after straight white men like Trump, like Kirk, like everyone else. This is coming whether we want to or not. And what they're doing now is if you're on the right and you understand what's happening, one day, if with this type of programming, your child will turn against you. And that's already happening now in white household and white families. Their kids are turning against them. This is a calculated war. You got to keep your kids close. You're going to have to groom them into being like you. Because if you don't, your kid's going to be groomed into being one of them. There's only two ways this can go.
Cancel your Netflix. Whatever you were spending, give it to TPUSA.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Make it a recurring, whatever the
Exactly.
one-to-one is.
You know, I remember I canceled Netflix and I was like, okay, cool. The Daily Wire was supposed to start doing children's programming and make their own shows. And that was going to be our replacement for Netflix. And then fucking Ben Shapiro and what's the other guy? And I like Matt Walsh, but the other dude, like the other CEO guy, they get into this fucking, have all these issues with Candace Owens. Then she leaves, and then everybody starts coming out about Daily Wire. So anyway, that whole thing that was supposed to uproot and challenge Netflix broke down. And now Netflix doesn't see a need to adjust anything. There's no alternatives for Netflix. There's nowhere else to go, but you're going to need entertainment at night. So you can cancel your Netflix and then watch Hulu, we're going to need a replacement. When you tell somebody to cancel their membership, you should be telling them to switch their membership to something else. That's why people don't do it all the time, because what are they going to watch? We need more alternatives. We need a separate economy. This is we can't just expect people to go without. That's not realistic. But yes, this is on there and you have children. Do not let them sit in front of a TV and just veg out on Netflix, because you'll wake up and your kid won't be your kid anymore.
That's so perfect. I mean, it's, and you've been here and you're here all week, which is awesome. I appreciate the support. And it's existential. You've been talking about it for years. We've been talking about it for years. You've been saying that we're headed towards a civil war situation. And then CNN asked me about it. And I was just like, well, what do you?
Yeah, these cancellations are great, but the Netflix app is still on your TV. Eventually, you're going to reactivate your Netflix account. This right here is damn near the same as virtue signaling. These people will reactivate, and they'll be back watching Netflix, and then Netflix, they'll be re-empowered. Yeah, their stock value went down $2. It's going to rebound $5, and then it's just a cycle. Unless we have an alternative that's going to compete with Netflix, why the hell did the Daily Wire have to shoot themselves in the foot? They literally could have been doing this material, but instead they wanted to put Israel first, Israel over America. And they literally dug themselves in a hole, and they're pretty much stuck there. You're barely seeing Ben Shapiro pop his head out. It's a year later. And he's not even really putting himself out there like that anymore. We need an alternative. We need something else that kids can watch, because Netflix and Disney are not in anymore. It's too dangerous.
Call this.
It is difficult for me to be here because I've talked about this in the immediate aftermath. My security team said we recommend against travel. The cost, the burden was substantial. I couldn't make it to the memorial. We're a couple of weeks on. Our assessment has things have cooled a little bit. It's still extremely difficult in terms of the security burden.
We just had the hoax bomb situation last
Exactly.
night in Utah. Tim, we got to run to a break. I know you got.
I'm in Arizona. I'm gonna do these shows, and I'll reshare a lot of Jack stuff. This is something that everybody's going to have to speak up about. We're not going to be able to have to just wipe this under the rugs. They're going to convert your children and recruit your children. These are not TVs. These are not shows to entertain your children. These are shows to recruit your children. Remember, gays cannot give birth. They can't have kids. The way they repopulate, they need your kids. These are the tools on how they brainwash and pull your kids in. They're doing it with kids shows. Keep your children safe, be involved, be active. Do not be an absent parent where you're just putting them in front of a TV. You don't know what's on that TV. You don't know what messaging is in there. Watch TV with your kids, or get rid of the TVs altogether. You got to play it safe. If not, you're going to lose your kids. Like and subscribe, share the video, Right Wing Rico, the single boyfriend. I'll be back with another topic. We'll be live in about another 30 minutes, and I'll see you guys again shortly. Thank you very much. Oh, and do me a favor, like the video. The Cash App's on there. If you want to send something, people keep sending me messages asking about it. The Cash App is in my the single boyfriend. If you have comments, leave them. I will respond to all of them, no matter which platform they're on, and I have been replying. So, and I do appreciate the feedback, positive or negative. I don't mind. Let's talk. I was just talking to a guy now, and he was saying, "Oh, you're brown, so they're gonna deport you." And I'm like, I'll be honest, deportation is not even the worst thing in the world. They would send you back to your island paradise where you love anyway. I don't understand why people are fighting it so bad. Just go. But in my case, I'm a citizen. I'm not even being threatened with deportation. I'm not a criminal. But these other people, it's like they try to even me as an adult, they lie to me to manipulate me. So imagine what they will say and do to your child. And your child is not me, strong mental fortitude, and I can tell somebody that they're full of shit. I have no fear. A kid is reluctant to speak against everyone else. They're going to kind of want to conform and just go along to get along. All of our kids are not going to be leaders. Some of them are followers. Look where they're going to try to get them to look where they're following them into. You got to be involved with your kids. So yeah, like and subscribe, share the video, $, the single boyfriend. If you want to leave a Cash App, I have appreciated the other donations. Thank you guys very much. Again, I'll be back shortly, and we'll go over some other topics.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.